channel, Bluegrass Trapper here. Sure do appreciate y'all tuning into this video. Today, me and Matthew went up to Eddyville, Kentucky to the UTK Trapping Convention. Met a lot of great people there. And Leon Smith, just an all-around great person. He's a legend here in Kentucky as far as trapping goes. Trapped other states as well. And has been trapping for many years. Got a lot of knowledge. But he done a demo today on how to fasten traps in culverts, how to fasten traps to concrete, like snares for catching bobcats and things like that. I didn't do an intro to this video while I was up there, so I figured I'd do this little intro real quick. Like I say, I really appreciate y'all tuning in, and I hope y'all enjoy his demo. Catch y'all in the next one.
So I'm going to tell a dirty joke. How'll that be? No, it's not dirty. This old boy, now some of you done heard this. If you have, act like you haven't. Make me feel better. This old boy, he's married, and his woman was a little heavy. In fact, she was quite a bit heavy. But he didn't care. He said he loved her better than anything he ever seen in his life. He said he'd do anything in the world for her. So she told him one day, said, honey, you know, I got a birthday coming up. You know I love to go fast. She said, yeah, I know that. Well, she said, let me tell you what I'd like to have for my birthday. He said, I'd like to have something sitting in my carport that'll go from 0 to 200 in less than 15 seconds. I don't know, but honey, I love you enough, I'll try my best. So next week, birthday rolled around, and I said, honey, said, I've got your birthday gift out here in the carport. She said, oh, did you give me what I wanted? He said, I guarantee you. He said, you get on that, it'll go from 0 to 200 in less than 5 seconds. Boy, she jumped up and down, went out there. He had a pair of feed store scales. I'd say that didn't go over too good. But those that didn't get it about midnight tonight on was, oh, I know what it meant now. Okay, I'm Leon Smith. 81 years ago, I caught my first animal. That's 81 years ago. That was in 1942. I was born in 36. I'm 87 years old. I still trap. Love to trap. Stacy White wanted me to tell you what I've not told a bunch of times about the magic in the sack. Have you ever heard me tell that? Magic in the sack. Only one? Okay. When I was going to school, I went to a one-room school building that was on the edge of a creek called Bear Creek. Our teacher was 17 years old. We had boys in there, men in there, 18 and 19. And he was scared of those boys. They did what they wanted to. But there was 6 of us little first grade boys. And the teacher would tell us, as soon as she rung the bell, 8 o'clock, he'd have us 6 little boys go up on the front seat. He'd say, now tomorrow I want you to bring me in a page, a sheet of paper with this first line in this book. Well, we were 6-year-old, we couldn't read. And them little typewritten words, sometimes make some little typewritten G's. Stuff like that. It's hard to do. Plus we couldn't read, we'd put a paper over the top of it and try to trace over the page. We get mixed up, different lines we couldn't read. And 5 minutes after 8, he'd say, y'all go play. We played till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We went for miles up and down that creek. Today, if a kid got out of sight, you'd be scared. We'd catch mud turtles, we'd catch copperheads, little 6-year-old kids. And we enjoyed it, had a good time. We didn't notice anything else. One thing we did, I regret doing, we played out, we was a doctor. We'd catch these tadpoles, you've seen these big tadpoles? We'd get these thorns. You have thorns, got the 3 prongs, 2 back here and 1 out there. We gave them a shot, punch them in the belly, give them a shot. The guts are screwed out. But we were 6-year-old, I guess we couldn't be held responsible for that. But there were very few cars back then. You just didn't see no cars. One afternoon, there was a vehicle pulled out, and all us little boys was there in the yard, still playing. And this guy got out, and he had a sack. It looked like it was heavy the way he was carrying it. Of course, we ran up as boys, what you got there, buddy? What is that? What are you doing? What you got in it? He wouldn't talk to us. When he went on out of sight, we waited, never came back. School's out next morning, about 9 o'clock, while vehicle pulled up. He had that sack, we didn't have, it was empty. Hey, mister, what you know, he wouldn't talk to us. He came back in a few minutes, well, in about 3 hours, he came back. And that sack was on his back, and it was really heavy. And I saw some tails sticking out. Some of them had rings around it. Some of them was red with a white tip on the end. We didn't know what it was, but there was magic in that sack. I could not get over that. Thank you. Magic in that sack, you know, he had caught something. And that affected me. All the rest of my life, I wanted to catch something. So I was 6 years old, and my uncle ran a store. And I was moping around there, and he said, what you ran? I said, well, I want to catch something, don't know how. He said, well, I've got some moles in my yard. He said, if you'll catch them, I'll give you a nickel apiece. Well, that Saturday, I got me a hole, and I was there, and I stood there and watched. I guess for 2 hours, it moved. I saw the ground move a little. Heard them roots popping. Boy, I went to digging. I come out with a motor. About 3 o'clock that afternoon, I called her nothing. Took her to the store, and he gave me 2 nickels. That was the first time in my life I ever had 2 nickels at the same time. I bet kids today don't remember the first time I had a dollar bill at the same time, $2 bills at the same time. But that made me that much worse. So I was telling these guys this morning, the worst thing I ever had told to me, I was 9 years old, and I'd caught a coon, a dog and treat, a muskrat, and a coon. A coon, a muskrat, and a gray fox in a #1 trail set. And I skinned them best I could. I tore holes in it and everything, and took them to this guy's supposed to be a big fur buyer, and he said, what do you want? What do you need? And I said, I've got the fur, understand. He went and got a big apron on and gloves and everything. I proudly put them up there, and I'll never forget what he said. He said, boy, you ain't got much in it. And it killed me. I think he gave me 45 cents for all of it, but that didn't matter. If he'd have gave me a nickel, I'd say, golly, I can't believe you caught all that. Man, you did great. I remember that when he don't never talk to kids like that. Never talk. Okay, we're going to start now on the I couldn't bring a culvert, so I brought a cement block, okay? And I've got some pictures of showing cats and it's going through culverts. If you're not trapping culverts and you want to catch some cats, you're missing out on a lot of stuff. If you look those and pass them around, then I'd like to have them all back when it's through them. Cats will go through these culverts. And let me tell you something else, like what guy said yesterday. You put some cameras up, you're not catching everything that's there. You ain't even coming close to catching everything that's there. And now, culvert's one thing that will bother you is coons. Coons, they use the far out of it. And in a few minutes, I'll show you the different type of snares that I use. A level 1/16 for cats, but a coon will eat it just like his candy. They would just be afraid in when you go through it. Very seldom you hold a coon. Unless you get it back to everybody that gives you a good deal. Some of the few things you need a drill. Now, if you want to buy a drill, they don't go before get you a hammer drill. It's the only way you can make these holes in it. And you can do anything else you could with a regular drill, plus you got a hammer drill. And it's masonry bit. I think we got the right one too. You want to use the same size bit. If you use the same size bit as your bolt, it'll just slip in now. Your bit's got to be a size smaller than your bolt is. And the guy told me that so many of these bolts, he said, you may pull that culvert out from under the road, but you'll never pull that out from under the culvert. That sounded good enough for me. We'll take this and drill a hole. And one of the things you want to be sure and do drill your hole deeper than the bolt is. You don't your bottom out. here, I can turn this upside down and get all that out of there. Biggest part of it. But now if you're in a Culvert, you can't turn that Culvert up. So what you need to do then, take your straw, stick that straw in there. Now it's not a milkshake, so don't suck on it. You blow on it. You blow that dust out of there and you still have room. Okay, another thing you need is get you a flat piece of metal, bend it. I'll show you why in a minute. You need to bend. You need to drill 2 holes in it. Okay. Then when you get ready to put this in, you'll need a bit. Get that. I had my bed picked out, but I picked up the wrong one. But it's still, put it in tight. Then, you got to drill your another hole. Okay, after you get that, take your hammer. And that'll hold that in there. Reason I drill core, I want to show you different size Snares. Now, Steve's not out here either. Steve's talking about if you're up in those strip mines like he is, strip pits like he's doing, where you can do this, or if you go, everybody has a favorite place where they like to set a trap or a snare. Even if it's beside a tree, you can get a wood, just a regular pit, drill in that hole. And once you put these here, it'll be there 10 years from now. Probably 20 years from now. So all you got to do now that we got that done, let me pass this around first. I couldn't find the part that the bar had really tore up, but I found a bar in this snare here when I was working in Colorado. But I brought it just to show you what a bar can do to that. In fact, I had to cut his leg off to get that off. But the other bar that it caught is, that snare you almost had that snare pulled in too. When we went in there, he was killing sheep. Kill a different one every night, each part of it. So they called me in there, I set a snare. Next morning I went to it. I had tied it to an aspen, about the size of a light pole. Well, I saw that thing, he had done pulled that light pole out and was running like it was a matchstick. like that. He'd be coming at us as hard as he could. Well, the little herder that was with me, he ran in the truck and locked both doors. No, that just happened. I had a 7mm rifle that I shot him. He weighed a little over 500 pounds, big bird. And but I didn't ask him about locking up both them doors. You know, that's not the thing to do. Anybody got any questions so far? When nobody answers, it means one of two things. Talking above your head, or you don't give a hoot what I'm saying.
What kind of cable are you using?
What kind of what?
What kind of cable or wire are you using there?
This? Yeah. Steve sent me that. It's really good wire. But it's something he had to do on his job, I think. There, I like that. But a coon will just eat that up. Okay, we done got these things fixed up like this. So all you got to do when you get ready to trap is come in here. Hook that in that. Screw it back down. Take your pole. Bring it up here. And the Bobcat on camera go through 5 snares with a 7-inch loose. Got it on camera. Stacy, you seen it, yeah.
I've seen it.
Okay, got that down on 7-inch snare. What's the guy's name? I never can think of Hal Sullivan, he told me, he said, use 7-inch snare. I put 7-inch snares and he walked through it and I told Hal next week, I said, can't run 2.5 then. He said, you know what he said? Your snare's too big. He said you should have put 6 cents instead of 7. So
That's one of them things you have to see to believe it almost.
I've seen some other trappers talking about a while ago. If I could only have one snare, I know some of the guys yesterday talking about faith, they doesn't have 3/32 in the other. If I could only have one snare, it would be this. That's 564. In a week's time in Colorado, I caught 96 red foxes and a bunch of cows in this trapper and one like this one. I only had one cow to chew at. And at home I've got a buddy that had 2 or 3 chew out of 3/32. 3 what? Yeah, 3/32. So then he cut pictures, he called him later, people that wouldn't have put a shot. Still had that part of that cable around and it was pressured up. So we never know. You've been better off with this if you stayed in that snare the first time without chewing out. Now putting these in culverts, there's difference in the culvert. Some of them are square, some of them are round. Fishing out the other trout, probably the round. Well, the round one's usually, if there's water running through a round one, it'll be so deep, you know, in a low place. Then them cats will walk on the side of it. So I'll put a snare here, maybe hang it low, and then go over about 15 feet with another snare. Just fill that up. That snare's don't cost much, and once you get these in, you know, it's easy. All you gotta do is just hook on to it. The next one is a 3/32. Now there's another snare or something.
Tap on.
But instead of screwing in like that, it punches in and then you hit a nail and it expands on the end. It works good except one thing, you've got a bunch of stuff left out, stuck out. I like these right here better. This one is a mountain lion snare. You probably won't be using it, but I want to show you how they work anyway. I caught birds in this side, but usually we use a large. Tandy slides thing here. Okay, now this one cut the cable. We don't use the little holders like that when we're trapping for Bobcat or line, so I thought I'd just bring this right here to hold on to show what it's coming from. The water push, if you get an idea what I'm talking about. See, that way, if you got your stuff already done, it won't take you just a minute to hook them up. There you go.
Ready to go every year.
Pardon?
Every year you're ready to roll, man.
Yeah. And if you're in a round culvert, I'd put a high one, about like this, one little lower, one out a little further, and all that. That'll help increase your. But if I can only use one snare, I use this one right here. And
How
I'd use different
water,
things. I'd use different things. On a round one, there'll be a stream of water coming in.
how high above that water usually?
Well, I use different. I use different ones. Put one that's right above it, one above it. But fill it up through there. But when he comes through there, put them on the side. Just don't put them where they reach each other very well. But then when the water gets really big, they'll walk these, if it's round, they'll walk around the side. Then you want to set your wings on your cover. That's the best place to set anyway. Unless it's dry. If it's completely dry there, they'll go straight on. I had a camera picture that had been shown that had a big coon sitting there looking at it, a big snake crawling through there. And then the next picture, the coon's in the water, and then wasn't on the next picture. The camera didn't get more. I wish it had. I'd like to see what he did with it. But any questions so far?
Well, he talked about on a flat cover.
On a flat cover?
Do you use any guides on like a?
There usually be a flat spot or two where they didn't get to concrete level. Them cats hit them dry spots.
What way you use like any kind of guide through there to push them toward
Yeah,
the wall?
can lay a tree or
Yeah.
a limb or something up. Now some people say, well, hey, don't go to that trouble to put your concrete block in it. Comes a big rain, it's gonna work that cement block over there.
Yeah.
But the thing about these, when you get ready to take them off, all you gotta do is snap in, bend that up, let them sit there. They'll be there next year. 10 years from now, they'll still be there. It just saves a lot of time if you've got certain flavors. Now these culverts, a few years ago, I asked a lot of people how to yank from a cement block and a concrete culvert or metal. Now if it's metal, you take a steel bit, a regular bit, and drill you a hole a little bigger than this, then switch as soon as you get through the metal, switch to a concrete or masonry bit and go on and fix it just like this. So you can do that too. But Slim Peterson told me roughly what to do. He said, you got to find some way to test that. Right there. So a few years ago, before I learned how to do this, the boy called me and said, you still trap bobcats? I said, well, every once in a while. I said, when I can. He said, well, my mama had a flat tire in the car. But I was sitting there waiting for somebody to come and help us. And said, that bobcat came off the bank, went to a culvert, jumped up. So I got my vehicle, went down there, and there was a cat right there. He walked through it. So it was a 3-foot culvert, which is not very big, galvanized metal. So I went home and I had some wire that was square, was about 3 inches. So I knew a cat couldn't get through that. So I made it round, a little bigger than the culvert was. And I went back down there and I scooted it in the culvert so it wouldn't move. I cut me a pole out 220. Well, I started back out and it started raining. Oh man, it rained all night. The first big rain we'd had. I went back the next morning, there was about 10 foot of water there. So I knew it stopped up. So I went to the other side, had a dim flashlight. I shined up in there and I could see something look quiet, just looking like it had spots in the trap and all the leaves, wood, stuff in there. So I got down on my knees and I had a bunch of clothes on and I could barely get in that 3-foot culvert. I started climbing a little bit at a time and I got up next to it. I grabbed that wire and all hell broke loose.
You heard?
Sure, it all come in my face. And then my body dammed it up. I had little holes like that big. It was all like a breeze. I began to think it was eating it. I'm so common. So I started kicking as much as I could, and in about 5 minutes, this fine water finally started going down where I could breathe. And then I started backing out, pulling my bobcat, my wire and everything. And I got to the end of the culvert, there's a big hole of water. I went to wash it off, and the first thing I saw was a big white tail with no hair on it. I saw a big fox. So where you go? That's the way it goes. Anybody got any more questions before they are? That it?
That's pretty good.
All
That's
over
pretty good advice.
what?
That's pretty good advice. That'd work. I wouldn't crawl up in a cupboard over possum.
Like I said, if you've got, just about everybody knows where these trails they trap every year. Get your bit, just drive a lug boat in there. Just have your loop tight piece of metal, so you can hook on it. But you can hook on it. You've got it the last 10 years, 20 years. The only thing different, if you do it on a tree or a root, I wouldn't screw it all the way in, because if you do that in a few years, that bark will cover up on yourself. Did you notice that big old German Shepherd in those pictures? Yeah. That was one of the best culverts I had found. They was mink, bobcat, I mean, just running back and forth. So I went to set. I checked my camera when I went to set it. There was that big deer running. But he had a collar on, so but I never did set it. That's the best culvert I ever had that I didn't set. Maybe I should have shot it. I wouldn't want nobody to shoot me or shoot mine. One time, my buddy and I was trapping Lake Cumberland for red fox. We caught a pile of them. I'd caught a red fox on this little slough right up the lake. They went further the next morning we ran them. There was a big dog standing right in the middle where a trap was set. Attached right here. I thought somebody set us up here. He was a female. And she had a collar with made out of a piece of leather, like a horse leather that you use for reins or something, and a knot tied in the end of it. That knot had got in that trail. I was afraid somebody was setting something on. So we turned him loose. She started up the hill. His dog come out behind every tree and threw that wind up there about 30 dogs. Best way I know to not catch a dog is don't set a trap. If you're where there's a dog, you don't catch it. Those old fight don't never leave the forest. Everybody says that. Yeah, you let it come and slow and you see what old fight is. One other thing I've got for you. Oh yeah, I've told you a couple of you here. What's the smartest animal you ever saw? Think about it. My son and I and my grandson are going to walk part of the Appalachian Trail. And I had read the Appalachian Trail, the worst thing is mice. They say, you get your bag, you better leave them open because if you don't, mouse will draw a hole and get in. So I stopped on the way down there and bought 4 mouse traps. When they went down the river, they got some shelters you find in case So we got in a sleeping bag, kept there, and I was like, mice around there. I got up and had a jar of fuel, extra crunchy, peanut butter. So I made the trap up and set them just like that. We got to pull them out. Then there's a big old mouse. He was 3 times big as the other. He went to ran for him. He come in there, and I listened to him. He come in there and stick one foot under that pedal. He kept peanut butter off the foot there. So the next time. I thought that's the smartest. We named him Einstein. Son in there, yeah, you can ask him what's the smartest animal he'll tell you. So I loaded my trap up with extra crunchy peanut butter, and I put a whole dog. I set it down about 20 times so I was able to set it down without it going off. We was trying to find out here he's doing stuff we couldn't get there. So I got over there and I got over there. Done me good. Okay, if no questions, that's it. Let's go to the auction and buy something. Okay? Thank y'all.